Welcome to Fuel. Fuel stands for Finance, Unity, Empowerment, Legacy. Join us today as Dr. Jackie, Dennis, and Mac continue their discussion on trust issues, part 2.
But it's all about change and adjusting. You know, you can become an adult at any age, but you have to stay an adult after you cross that barrier. Now you're an adult. You got to stop thinking like a child and change your own life. You know, and sometimes it seems impossible because of your surroundings, but I grew up in the projects of Philadelphia, ended up in college for engineering. Who would have ever guessed that? You know, my education was fighting to get to school, fighting to get back home, and running faster than Usain Bolt. You'd be surprised at things you learn. And then I won a scholarship to a private school in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. And I saw a whole different life because those rich kids were coming to school in limousines. I'm like, wow. Only time I saw a limousine was on Starsky and Hutch. Here I see them every day. And then I would walk home to the train and take the train back to Philadelphia. And I said, okay, try to talk to my friends. No, they wanted to go out fighting and shooting and all that. And I said, well, I'm going to college. So I set my head into going to college because change was the thing I adopted, you know, and that's how I met Mac. I was in college and working. And we worked at this company who scripted everything we said.
Yes.
And I still remember the script 45 years later. And if I said it to Mac, he would pick up his phone and say, hello, hello.
Yes, yes.
You know,
hey, look, hey, Dennis, I can appreciate that, but I see your point, but
He's like,
Mr. Jones, I can understand why you feel that way. However,
if you like it, would you buy it? And if you buy it, would you be interested in other books in the series?
Yes, we can take you out
week.
to the old Wild West. We can show you Wyatt Earp.
I did that for 2 years while I was in college. It didn't help me get a date though.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how things go. I had no idea that Mac, of all the people I met at that job, would be the one I would still be in touch with. But my best friend who got me there is still best friends with both of us.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Life is just weird. And then I decided to renew my love for music and start playing drums again. And my first gig was at a church. And I didn't know the musicians got paid until the secretary handed me a check. And I was sitting there like, what's this? And then the preacher came and took it out of my hand. I'm sitting there like, what was that? You know, I was like, wait a minute. She gave me a check. Wait a minute, that's man giveth and man taketh away. So he took it away, and now I'm like, what was that? So then I went from that place to another place, and then I met Dr. Jackie when her church choir came to my church, and their music director said, can you come play with us? But I'm still playing here. And let me tell you, talking about trust, love, and respect, they started paying me, and I had never been to their church. Mac, they started paying me, and I had never been to their church. And I'm sitting there like, who are these people paying me? And I had never played for them, but that one time in my church that, you know, I didn't, you know, I was like, okay, I don't even know who to send this money back to, but they trusted me. So when I was free, I would go play for them. And then we did the Black family reunion down on the
Right.
Washington
mall.
Monument Mall, and got a recording contract or something, and we recorded some CDs, and I'm like, wow, this church is hopping mad. So it was all about trust, which led me to Dr. Jackie, and we have been friends ever since. And then Mac, you know, we all have things in our lives that allow us to change. And it's funny, when Mac and I started really talking again after I don't know how many years, we found out we was pretty much doing the same thing, playing in this church, playing in that church, moving here, moving there. But we had one connection that remained and remains solid. And that is our friend who's not on this call. So here we go. Friends begat friends through trust.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, to your point, never ever, of all the people that I knew in that previous situation, as I was also going to school, you know, to college, when we met, and to think that it was you of all the people, and I'm not even throwing shade now, it just amazes me that whole connection between you and I, Dennis, and then that third person that we share as a bestie. That's incredible. And then to have Dr. Jackie fall into this mix for me much later, but still, it's been enough years where I think we got double-digit years, Dr. Jackie, I think.
I think so.
It's incredible that now we find ourselves in a format like this, and we talk more now than we ever did.
Yeah, too much sometimes.
But
it's okay.
It's
okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it all comes down to trust. You know, when things were changing in my life, I trusted the two of you all to help me along the way. And through helping my parents, you ended up helping me as well. And here we are today. And because of that trust, I'm literally realizing everything that I could have ever imagined. And Dennis, you always ask this question about if you had all the money that you need, what would you do?
What would you do?
And I think that's just the question that we need to continuously ask ourselves, you know, what would you do? And then determine how you're going to get to having that amount of money so that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. I'm done. Just in case there's a delay, I'm done.
Yeah, there's a delay, but your message is clear. Because, you know, I was always taught that if you don't know how to handle $1, you won't know how to handle $1 million. And that's why a lot of times lottery winners are broke within 5 years.
Right.
Basketball players are broke as soon as they quit their playing basketball. Football players are broke as soon as they finish playing football, because no one sat them down and told them the truth. Money is fleeting. And if money is not begetting money, then, you know, you're going to be broke. So in time of plenty is when you save up for a time of famine. And, you know, they're making these $1 million a year contracts, and they go buy houses. Nothing wrong with that. But they buy a $12 million house. $12 million house probably had about $500,000 in maintenance that has to be done every year. So after 20 years, you done spent another $12 million plus the tax. Oh my gosh. Things that we don't ever think about. You know, I was just reading an article about somebody just lost $134 million house because of, you know, what's going on in the world right now. They couldn't make the payments. Wow, what a crazy problem to have, but it happens. Happens to I hate using the word poor, but people of little means and people of great means. So how do we fix that? Through finance, unity. Oh gosh, I can never remember what
Empowerment.
that's spelled.
This is your
Empowerment
program,
and
man.
legacy.
I'm sorry. I have so many acronyms go through my head. I'm sitting there like fun, utility.
Hey, look, I probably only remember it because I actually do the voiceover every time we put something out. So I have to say it.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I apologize. It's funny because I keep notes by my side all the time of what I want to talk about. And fuel is on the wrong page. So from now on, every page I write, I'm gonna put fuel on top of what it means, you know. So, but the whole purpose of this is to help you fuel new generations, because now it's not about us, it's about our generations and teach them about finance. You know, everybody has gone through something. If you meet somebody and you think they haven't gone through anything, they just haven't told you yet. Everybody has gone through something. So you can never be mad at somebody for the path that they choose, whether it's a girlfriend or a financial advisor. Everybody has gone through something, you know, so we're trying to formulate a plan that anyone can use to protect your life, to enhance your life, and to teach others. That's the L, that's the legacy and fuel. I remember that one. And it's all about generations, you know, in the Black community, because not all of us are African American, because Elon Musk is African American. Well, how many of you guys been to Africa? So I don't mean been there like that, Jack. I mean,
Just saying.
I mean,
I'm getting you on what you're saying.
We're Americans, we're Black. And like I said, Elon Musk is African American. So what does that term even mean anymore? But we have to get out here and take care of our future families, because you know we're changing. Things are changing. It's not, you go to Japan, you see all Japanese, all basically one look, even though there are a lot of Black Japanese. You go to China, you see all Chinese people are Asians, but there's a lot of Black Chinese that are indigenous, ladies and gentlemen. Look up that word, indigenous. But in the long run, we all gonna have children. And our children need to know how not to live a life of poverty.
Poverty.
Hey, Jack, so what do you think, Jack? You are trying to train your family. You know, how well is that going for you?
Put me on the spot, why don't you? So they're the younger generation, and what they want to do is spend. And so it is a slow process of helping them to see beyond the value of what they can buy and the value of how to save and how money works for them. And so I do it in small steps. I do it with their two daughters, one 11, one 14. So we're talking that young adult, preteen, teen, whatever you want to call them, with an example when we're going somewhere, and we could easily go to Cheesecake Factory and get our meal, or we could go, and this is exactly what happened. We went out and they made the choice of not spending at a place that they had eaten before, did not enjoy. And I just use Cheesecake, but I'm just saying whatever restaurant it was, they chose to go somewhere else where they knew they would enjoy and what they said. And then you don't have to spend as much money and we'll get what we want. So looking at your wants and needs, and putting is that something I really have to have? The little one will tell me I can buy all of these cards for the computer, but when we're talking about her spending her money, she's not going to spend that money. So, it's helping them understand your habits of spending, how wants and needs come in, setting goals. But it's hard. It's hard because our society talks about how much you can spend, what you can buy. And we are fighting that when trying to educate with the value of it and the impact it has on your life if you look at money a different way and understand how it works.
So, sorry, Mac, I'm going to ask you this question. You know, the three of us have had moments where we run into emergencies. Have you ever run into an emergency where you did not have the funds?
You talking about over a lifetime?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, affirmative, brother, affirmative. Yeah. I don't know if you're looking for more elaboration on that,
Well,
but
yeah, because you know,
I'll tell you
how do you
this.
prepare for it now? Might be the extension of that.
Okay, so the way I prepare for it now is really through saving. I created an emergency fund, and then I have more aggressive ways of being able to accumulate money. I did not do that before. In my previous life, it was about, you know, living for the weekend, so that's when I can party down. It was about living to pay bills, which is the mentality that most of society has. And when I ran into jams, would whip out that credit card, not understanding that not only would I have to repay the principal, but now I've also accumulated an interest debt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that became my albatross. And when you're talking about slavery,
Mm-hmm.
that's what most people are in slavery to. They're in slavery not to the man as much as they are to their own buck wildness in their spending habits.
Spending habits. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Jackie was telling me a story about a family member who doesn't understand the ATM machine. Dr. Jackie, you want to expand? Because I think all three of us can grow through your example.
So the ATM machine allows you to put a card in and get money. But then you got to figure out where that money is coming from. And this family member acted like it was falling from trees. And so put it in and they get money. And you know what the system started doing was allowing you to take money, even though you didn't have it, and then charge you that overdraft fee, right?
Ooh.
Which doubled what you owed. And so here, this family member was with not only an empty account, but then all of these 30, at the time it was probably $25 fees added on, and trying to figure out why did that happen? Because I put the card in, I put my code in, and I got money. Yeah. And that is the same mentality that is being generated because you have a credit card and you don't understand. Very few are writing checks, so they don't do it. They're able to do this electronic withdrawal. And there are some who will look and make sure they have money in, who will look and check balances. They don't, what is it we used to do? What's that thing? When you resolve. They don't resolve their accounts to find out if there's a balance between what went out, when they just take whatever. But there's not that real understanding of what you have to put in to get out.
That was part of the plan of the financial system.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they took us off of checks and put us on the credit cards, because the credit card, You have no idea. You just spend, 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 spend. You're not gonna get the bill for 25 days.
Right. And so then you forget what has mounted up. There was a while ago, probably about 5 years ago, there was this commercial that they were presenting where an individual would come, put on my credit, you know me. And then one person came and opened up their wallet to pay cash. And people were, why are you taking so
So
long?
long.
Okay. And so that was frowning on the use of cash. Yet during that same time, during the holiday season, you would hear, set your amount, have that amount of cash, don't spend anymore, because then you are in charge of the amount that's coming out of your budget, which nobody does. But then you are in charge of the amount you're spending. No. Now we're going to all use credit cards. And as long as I got a card and as long as my limit says I can do it, what the heck if I go over?
Yeah. And oh my God, let me tell you, I paid off my credit cards and then they canceled them. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I paid them off. Why are they canceling my credit cards? You know, because I switched from being on credit to being on cash. And they did everything they could to ruin my credit rating. So I don't have credit cards anymore. I said, if they can do that to me after I pay it off, what are they doing to people who are paying month after month? So I got rid of the credit cards. And I know people are like, what? You can't live without a credit card. They did not have credit cards when we were growing up. I just got to let you guys, you young folks know. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have credit cards. They didn't have Apple Pay. And people knew how much money they had. They knew when they spent $1, they knew there was a -$1 on their bank account. It was no 25 days later, you get the bill and you go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Did people have problems? Yeah, they still had problems, but it was a different problem. And, you know, so since I've been living without credit cards, I only buy what I can afford. And afford is a different term. So now if I want something, I find a way to afford it. You know, I don't do without. I say, okay, how much does this cost? What asset can I purchase to pay for my liabilities? And that's what we teach here at Fuel. Fuel is an asset. You think about the fuel you put in your car. It's just sitting there waiting to be used. And then once you use it, you got to replenish it. And then it's an asset again. So we want our asset to be easily replenishable, but more than enough to take care of our liabilities. Once you get to that point, what do you need credit for? You know, don't get me wrong. I know people buy houses on credit because it's hard to pay cash for a house. I know people buy cars on credit because it's hard to pay for cars on credit. I mean, on cash. I understand. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about boots, coats, shirts. Well, you go there for the sale, but you end up paying twice the amount of money. It makes no sense. You're spending your future now. And you got to understand that that's what credit means. You're spending your future today for what money you might make tomorrow. And I say might because Dr. Jackie and I have done financial analysis for people. And we tell them, okay, go up $10, go up $100, but don't go up any more than that. You'll be out of debt in 6 months. And then they go ahead and send the credit card company $2,000. And now they don't have money for the rest for their other bills. And then what do you get? Late fees and cancellations. So, you know, it's a step-by-step process. I didn't do it overnight. I focused on it. I paid 10% of my credit card bills every month, no matter what. I don't care what came out, what new shoes came out, what new sneakers came out, 10% every month. You know, if I owed $5,000, that means 500. When I owed 4,500, that means 450. When I owed 4,000, it means 400. And it went down so fast, I was amazed. Had I paid that 26.77 that they wanted me to pay, it would have taken 30 years
Mhm,
to
mhm.
pay off that $5,000. Well, maybe not 30 years, but a
But the fact
long,
is, a long time. Mhm.
very long time. And then they would have gotten about $10,000 instead of 5,000. So, you know, you could be on credit if you want. I mean, there are ways, there's people who teach debt to wealth. And I took a lot of debt to wealth classes and they were very interesting. I ended up in so much debt because there's always a little thing they don't teach you. So what is it? Don't buy nothing else until you're out of debt. So the minute you buy something else, it adds another couple months onto it. But in the meantime, you find a way to buy assets to pay for your liabilities. You know, I talk to Mac all the time. I'm not trying to tell your life, but he says in this country, he can live like a king. In the United States, he's got to worry about every penny because the cost of living is less. Move to a place where the cost of living is less if you don't want to increase your income. You know, I'm from Philadelphia. The cost of living is less, but there's a different cost of living. I'm not dealing with those gangsters no more.
Yeah. Hey, you know, just to make your point, $1,000 US, where I'm sitting at right now, is the equivalent of almost $8,700.
Woo.
Wow.
That sounds like when we went to Thailand.
Thailand.
34 to 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
$1,000 would be worth 34,000 there. You could live like two kings
Yes.
and a
Yes.
prince.
So you see why I'm smiling now, because I'm back on turf that's working for me. Over hanging out in Maryland and DC with you guys, man, that's rough. But over here, I'm literally considered rich, literally, by
Wow.
the standards of this country. Yes.
But if he follows his own rules for fuel, it won't matter what country he's in.
That's the key.
Exactly.
And that's
That's
what
the
we're working
key.
on. That's what he's working on now. I
Right.
have already kind of sort of got there. I got one financial hurdle to go over, and it's what I call a stupid problem to have. And you know, it started from way back when I didn't know anything about money, and I didn't take care of it when I learned about money. So now I'm taking care of it, and then I'll be traveling again as soon as these variants go away. The replicants. So there you go, Dr. Jackie. Because Mac not gonna stop it. Mac be cutting these things up into 5 episodes, you know. It'd be episode 1, 2, 3,
Dr.
4.
Jackie, who's doing most of the talking on this thing?
Yeah,
Hey,
he kind of needed
let me
it.
tell you
The
something.
mouth. The mouth.
I got, look, between yesterday and today, I've been through so much stuff trying to help people. I can talk for another 5 hours.
And so
We
on
know.
that note, we're
We
going
know.
to end this hour
That's what I
with
was doing, Dr. Jack.
thank you everybody for signing on to Fuel Finance. Tell us the rest: unity, empowerment, and legacy.
Yeah, that's
And-
it.
and we are here to look at ways to help you for next generations. So let us all, we usually let everybody say a word to close. So Mac, do you have a closing statement?
Just simply learn how to trust.
Dennis?
To your success.
All right. And we will sign off for this week. Have a good one all. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for part 2 of Trust Issues. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fueling Future Generations, and also reach out to us by email at fuelingfuturegenerations2020@gmail.com. Have a great day.